Hello everybody and welcome back to the Valley Fever Sports Network. I'm your host Daniel and welcome to another video. On the first video on this channel that's not about the Diamondbacks' current postseason run. This is going to be about the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns NBA season finally starting as of today. I'm recording this a day early, so it is Monday, but the season starting Tuesday today. And I wanted to give my little season preview of the Phoenix Suns. Just want to be forewarned, not really ingrained in plays that the Suns could be running or sets and stuff like that. If you're looking for something like that, I do highly recommend the Timeline of Phoenix Suns podcast. I'll put their stuff below. They're really great. Mike and Sam over on Twitter, and their podcasts are fantastic. Definitely encourage you to seek out them for your Suns podcast needs. But let's go ahead and jump into it. A busy offseason for the Phoenix Suns. Usually you don't see this many additions and subtractions from a team in an offseason. But the additions: Bradley Beal, Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Eric Gordon, Yuta Watanabe, Jordan Goodwin, Keita Bates-Diop, Drew Eubanks, Nasir Little, Bol, Keon Johnson, who they did cut earlier today, or I guess earlier yesterday, Chimezi Metu, and Udoka Azubuike. Subtractions: Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Cameron Payne, Jock Landale, Torrey Craig, Landry Shamet, TJ Warren, Bismack Biyombo, Terrence Ross, Darius Baisley, and they did end up waiving Ish Wainwright. 4 players retained from last season: Book, Okogie, Durant, and Damian Lee, who was injured and most likely going to miss a lot of the season with a meniscus injury. And not even just on the player front, a lot of turnover on the head coaching front. Of course, Suns firing Monty Williams in the offseason, hiring Frank Vogel as their head coach, keeping Kevin Young on as the associate head coach, and then David Fizdale coming on as an assistant head coach. Of course, Fizdale having a lot of experience as a head coach. So that is huge. And like I said, you don't really see this much turnover on an NBA roster, but of course, with how last season ended, something needed to change. And I think they made a lot of great changes. Starting lineup-wise, Bradley Beal, of course, I believe will play point guard, even though he probably won't be he'll be slotted in at point guard, probably won't be taking a lot of the point guard duties. I do think Book is probably going to take over for that. Booker at shooting guard. Small forward, we, as of recording this, don't know who the fifth starter could be. Of course, as filming this, Beal and Book are questionable with a back and a toe, respectively, so we'll see if they even play today against Golden State. But we don't know who the third starter is yet, so I've got question marks at small forward, Durant at power forward, and then Nurkic is the big. The bench guys I wanted to highlight: Eric Gordon, Grayson Allen, Goodwin, Watanabe, Bates-Diop, Little, and Eubanks. So out of guys I'm leaving off, I think those are guys that are going to play meaningful minutes. Bol, Chimezi Metu, and Azubuike I do not have highlighted, even though I really do like Chimezi Metu. And one of the questions I have is, how do these minutes get dispersed? Some really great guys on this team. I mean, Eric Gordon and Grayson Allen really impressed in preseason action. Even Jordan Goodwin, was a steal machine in his preseason games. Yuta shot great. Diop, of course, for the defense. Nasir Little also played pretty good in that Yusuf Nurkic, DeAndre Ayton trade. And then Eubanks has played phenomenal as the backup center. Preseason wise, Durant led the team with 17 points per game. Of course, all this is skewed. None of them really played that many minutes. Book had 16. Grayson Allen and Eric Gordon both had 11.8 points per game. Bradley Beal only played in 2 games, averaged 11 points. But 3-point percentage is a big thing with the Suns last year. They did not have a lot of 3-point guys. They weren't really shooting that many 3-pointers. And when they weren't really falling down. But in preseason, 3-point percentage over 35%. You had Book, Beal, Chimezi Metu, Durant, Saben Lee, Yuta, and Okogie. Saben only took, Saben Lee only attempted 1.4 3-pointers a game. All those other guys shot at least 3. So that's huge. Really going to help a lot, especially around Book, Beal, and Durant. If you double team them, and you got a 3-point shooter in the lineup, pass it over to them. They can drain the 3. Preseason leaders, like I said, Durant, Book, Allen, Gordon, and then Saben Lee, the top 5 scorers. Saben Lee, I'm just going to put an asterisk next to it. Saben Lee had a lot of free throws, which is good. Suns, another problem they had the past season, didn't get a lot of free throws. Rebounds, not really impressive. Again, like I said, minute-wise, you're not going to see that big of a sample size. Eubanks had 6.5, Nurkic 6.3, Goodwin, Okogie, and Diop, our 3 kind of defensive guys, had 4.7, 4.5, and 4. Assists, Saben and Grayson Allen had 3.8. Book had 3.7, Durant had 3.3, Eubanks 2.8. So that's really impressive for Eubanks, kind of channeling his inner use of Nurkic. Eubanks and Azubuike had a block per game. Again, like I said, small sample size, but just a kind of a good look. Gordon had 0.7, Goodwin had 0.7, Metu 0.6, Bol Bol 0.6. Steals, Goodwin 2.7. Next closest was Allen 1.5. Okogie had 1.3. Eubanks and Book had a steal. Grayson Allen logged 23 minutes per game in the postseason. My three big main takeaways from the preseason were Grayson Allen, Jordan Goodwin, and Eubanks. Of course, Grayson Allen, when he got traded, a lot of people were kind of, a lot of what they knew was Grayson Allen and Duke, and with his early teams kind of being dirty. What they didn't really notice was Grayson Allen, the fifth starter for the Bucks, who started over 70 games with them last season, and they, of course, had their playoff run. So Grayson Allen, huge. If I had to pick, Grayson Allen might be the starter, but I feel like Frank Vogel is going to go matchup-wise. If they need some defense, maybe they'll go Okogie. If they need a three-point shooter on the floor, maybe Watanabe or Goodwin, Gordon. I'm going to get Goodwin and Gordon mixed up a lot here. And one of the biggest changes I saw in preseason was there's just the faster ball movement. Of course, they have a better passing center, which opens up the floor and gets more three-point shooting opportunities and defense. That's going to be huge. Not only just Nurkic, but Eubanks really impressed as a passing center. Of course, we didn't really get to see that. Ayton did have some good passes, but I think he didn't get them off in time. He would wait a second, and then by the time he made the read, the pass would be too late. Possible problems, this team does have some issues, not as much as they had in the past, but obviously injuries. With 4 of your 5 starters having a history of big injuries, of course, KD with the Achilles, Beal suffering from the back injury, Book has a lot of ankle problems, Nurkic with his leg. So obviously that'll be a thing to watch. They're a little bit more better built to handle injuries than they have been in the past. Of course, you have KD, Book, and Beal as the top 3 guys. One of those guys go out, you still got either two of those 3. Whereas before with Book, if Book went out, then you had Paul, Ayton, Bridges weren't really ready. Bridges-wise, wasn't really ready to take on that big role. And of course, Paul and Ayton didn't really impress the past couple of years. Another possible problem, underperforming bench. Really don't think that's going to happen. Small percentage chance. I think they got really good depth. A lot of people don't see it yet, but I think as they progress in the season, they'll pretty much see the depth. Another possible problem, paint defense. Can Nurkic defend the top centers? Of course, it's going to be a problem for anybody. We saw that with Ayton. A lot of these guys can't be really guarded that well. But how well can he do on Giannis? How well can he do on Jokic, AD, Embiid? We saw in the last preseason game, AD kind of gave Nurkic some problems on both sides of the floor. So we'll see how Nurkic does there. Three-point woes. Three-point shooting can change game to game. Obviously, they have more three-point shooters now, so I don't really... If one guy's off, say if Eric Gordon's off, then you have Allen, you have Watanabe. Even Book has been shooting more threes. I think that's a thing to watch this season. One of the questions I saw this preseason and even the offseason was, is this the next Brooklyn Big Three? I'm going to say... no, with a capital N-O, no. The difference between Brooklyn and Phoenix is how they play. Obviously, people are going to make the comparisons because Kevin Durant's on this team, but I don't think you can really compare Beal and Book with Kyrie and James Harden. 2 different play styles, right? Kyrie does have the ball a lot. He does shoot a lot. Harden needs the ball pretty much all the time. So I think that's a little different than Beal and Book, who Beal is pretty much is a fantastic off-ball guy. Even Book, too, if he can shoot those threes. But I think... KD doesn't always need the ball too, by the way. If he can work with Book and Beal, KD, I think they can work a lot better. And even then, we didn't really see a lot of Kyrie, Harden, and Durant. And when we did, they looked fantastic. One of the things that I saw this preseason that was really good was the pace of play and the ball movement. Of course, with Chris Paul, kind of that steady veteran presence, slow down the team. And it had some advantages. It also hurt them a lot. But now without Paul, with either Book, Beal, or Durant, or anybody else who can handle the ball in that lineup, pushing the floor, pushing the pace, getting more shots up, that's going to be huge. That was a big problem. They were with Chris Paul, they were waiting 16 seconds into the shot clock before getting a shot. Preseason, we didn't really see that. They saw him pushing the floor. It's not like they were making dumb offensive plays either. They were, when they needed, they took their time, made the right pass. They had a lot of good ball movement. With Chris Paul, they would kind of be like ISO at the top of the key, wait, look for the pass, and then he would make the pass, and sometimes it'd be too late. You wouldn't get a good shot up. So I think that's going to be huge. And that's going to be it from my Suns season preview. I do think the Suns have a really good chance if injury plays into their luck this season to win the championship. It might be the best opportunity the Suns have had to win a championship in a long time. West, super tough, though. You got the Nuggets, you have the Lakers, you have the Warriors, the Kings, the Thunder are up and coming, Memphis after Morant's 25-game suspension. A lot of good teams. out in the West. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a grind. I think it's going to be a really fun season. I hope you enjoy the game tonight. Hopefully, it is a Suns win. We'll see if Beal and Book play. But I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Hit the notifications. Check out my Twitter. Check out my website. I do write some articles over on my website. Tweet along with games. I will probably be tweeting along with the Suns game tonight if the D-back game is not over yet. But I hope you do enjoy. Thank you, and go Suns.